we are live. It's about 11 a.m. Pacific time, and I really am so happy to be here. I want to let you know that we are over in the chat room, and you can find us by heading over to 12radio.com. That's number one, number two radio.com. Click on the chat button, and you'll be redirected into the Facebook chat room. So that's the way to find us. And you'll see my banner there at the top of the page where other people are chatting. And that's the place to throw in a question or ask for a reading or, make whatever comment comes to mind. I know you will. I also want to let you know that I am live streaming this event from my fan page right here on Facebook. That's Katie Weaver, Domestic Mystic on Facebook. I'm also sharing that right now into the 12 Radio group, so you can find the live stream if you'd rather watch than listen. And I got to tell you, today you might want to, because it is that day of the month that I read with all of the cards from the 12 family, which is really fun. So I have all of my decks out here from all my 12 pals, and I'm going to read for you from all of their work. I was so excited to discover this week, by the way, that there is another deck in the 12 family that I didn't know about, and that is Keisha Angel has a deck, and I am going to have to wait until it comes so that I can read for you guys with that one as well. But that's really fun that we'll have another deck to play with. But for today, I will be reading for you from Mo Tarot, from both of Kelly McLean's decks, the Resistance is Futile and Sweary Spirituality. And I will be reading from Christy's deck. I know she's not technically in the family anymore, but I always use her stuff anyway. This, of course, is her Kindred Spirits deck. And then, of course, my own deck, the Ground Bless, Protect, and Move deck. And I got wise this week, and I pulled out Melissa Caprio's book. I had been hearing other people saying that they were using it like an oracle, just turning to a page for a message. And I thought, well, I could be doing that too. So I have Melissa's Postcards to the Universe book right here. So the only other deck I need, and hopefully my producer will produce it for me, I need Angela Hartfield's new deck, the Messages from the Oceans deck. And I'm not allowed to keep that in my office because it's actually Scott's and he loves it. So every time I use it on the show, then he takes it back and hoards it in his pile like a big greedy dragon. And he has it. So hopefully he'll bring it into my office so that we have that one too. With all that being said, what we will do is we'll do all of our regular stuff first, but then I will, Oceans, Whispers from the Ocean, Scott. Anyway, I knew he'd produce. Anyway, we'll do all of our regular stuff first, but then you will want to make a request here in the chat room or in the live stream for a reading if you'd like one, and I would really be happy to tune into you and ask Spirit which cards we ought to pick from and do a reading for you from some of these gorgeous decks. So, got it. So there we go. How are you doing? Let me know. I'm in the chat. I'm paying attention. I would love to know. How's it going? We're in a very interesting energy. Friday afternoon, the Schumann resonance hit 140, which has only gone higher than that one time in recorded history. Remember, the Schumann's been recorded now since the 1950s. It never really got above 7 or 8 at all until 2017, and now here we are in 2020, and it spiked clear up to 140. Interestingly, what that has created in a lot of empaths is stomach stuff. When the Schumann spikes, a lot of empaths are reporting a lot of tummy and digestive issues. Isn't that interesting? Anyway, we'll pay attention to it. It came right back down. It was quite a bit lower on Saturday. It was much lower on Sunday, and then this week, it's been really good. I'll tell you what it is here in a second, but it's been lower. I don't know if that's good or it isn't good. I don't think it's a bad thing, even though when it's high, I know some of us are experiencing some nervousness and anxiety. Yeah, it's 18 today, so no big deal. Remember, 7 is the baseline. But at any rate, I still think that it is an increasing energy of It's an increasing energy of, how do we want to say that? It's an increasing energy of consciousness. It's an increasing energy of growth, right? I do think it's about our ascension. I think it's about the way we are awakening to each other and to our purposes and to the consciousness of the planet. Change is never comfy. Isn't that just the way it is? Change is never comfy. I guess I shouldn't just, that shouldn't have to be a fulfilling prophecy, but it seems to be, a norm. Change is not usually comfy, but it's okay. You're safe. It is what it is. But anyway, very interested in what the Schumann is doing currently. So just so you guys are aware of it. But yeah, very uncomfortable business going on for sure. All righty. Well, what else? Actually, lots of things to share. So last week, I launched my brand new video series of scopes. They come out on Monday mornings, and they are a video scope for the week. So I'm going to put a link in the chat room, but you can find that over on YouTube under Katie Weaver or Domestic Mystic. I would love it if you guys took a look at those. Let me know what you think. And if you like yours, please comment on it. Please subscribe and please share it. That helps me a ton. If you're drawn, only if you're drawn, no worries whatsoever. I did put a link in the chat room so that you can find those as well. But that, those are fun. It's crazy because I said I'm going to give these a month and see, because they are quite a lot of work, but they're fun to do. But I decided I'll give it a month and see. And wouldn't you know, on Sunday, I had a major computer internet meltdown situation. I ended up not being able to post videos, only just the audio with a video card. So they're not exactly what I wanted, but at least I got them there. That happened to Unchurch as well on Sunday. But I think that we have worked out our issues around here and our internet is going strong. What happened is that with, bajillions of people coming home to work, it has created a sense of, it's created a huge draw on the internet. And so while we typically have fantastic internet where I live, everyone's using it all day, every day. And it's created some struggles. And we called the internet place. We have our internet through Cable One, and we called them and we were like, look, we can't, we have to have better internet. We're paying for much better than we're getting. And they said, here's the problem. So is everyone. But there's just an unprecedented draw on the internet. But what we did do is upgraded our modem. We went from a smaller modem to like the biggest hootie modem we could get. And holy moly, what a difference it has made. So I'm hoping that means that I am done having internet issues. I think it is. I believe it is. So, and I don't know about your states, but Idaho is rolling out its, Wake the World Backup Plan right now in 4 phases. So I'm really hoping and praying that this will be a positive thing, that people will treat it with respect and still be very careful and take good care of each other. Fingers crossed, right? They may or they may not, but that's my hope. So we will see. But with that, a lot of people here are going back to work. So that will maybe get some of them off of my internet. We'll see. I also wanted to tell you about our latest video, Christy and my latest video for our podcast that is True Crime Paranormal with the Psychic Sisters. And this week we again were on the Vallow Daybell case covering Alex Cox. This one is really interesting because we were able to include a 7-minute recording of Alex Cox calling 911 after he shot and killed his brother-in-law. It is very interesting to listen to. All of you who love true crime, love to read the players, love to dive into it, you really want to listen to this one so that you can hear that 911 call and pick it apart. That's really interesting. Chilling, honestly. There's also, and we didn't publish it, but there's also body cam footage from the police officer that responded to Charles Vallow's death, and it is doubly chilling. And unless you have the stomach for it, don't watch it. But at any rate, you might be interested in it. You might find some things there that are of interest anyway. But anyhow, those are some of the things going on in my world. But yeah, definitely watch the podcast if you get time and let me know what you think. We are having a good time with it. And I'll tell you what, it's growing fast. We're getting quite a bit of good attention on it. So I hope that means we're doing good work. I'm kind of getting ready to cover some other things besides the Valo case. It's a big one, you know, and we needed to cover it. But, and here's what's happening. She has, hopefully by the end, well, I don't know if her bail hearing has been put off twice now because of the Supreme Court's attempts to keep things out of court as much as possible, to protect folks. But so her bail hearing has been put off twice, but it is supposed to be this week. So we'll see if it happens. But also, actually, at the very beginning of next week, her pretrial hearing is supposed to happen for 2 days. So we'll see. So I will have a lot more to report on that case up and coming, but that's happening. I had a request this week that I cover or that I teach a class on forensic mediumship. It's part of how I do these cases, and I'm really curious about it. I'm going to teach it, but I would be curious to know if any of the rest of you would be interested in a forensic mediumship class. And, if so, what you would be seeking from that class. I've actually taught it before in person, but I've never taught it this way. So kind of interesting, but I would love to hear from you if this is something that you're interested in. Okay, I am getting messages from some of you that Luminous sent out last week's magazine. I don't know how that happened. After the show, I'll have to fix it. Here's what happened. Well, I mean, this is just a big excuse, but as my college kids are trying to wrap up their semesters, they are requiring an inordinate amount of support, which is fine. But most of the time that I typically spend working on electronic work on marketing and Luminous and things like that was gobbled up yesterday helping my daughter make a video for one of her English classes. It was actually about astrology and it was really cool. But anyway, it's found me playing catch up, and I did publish Luminous right before the show, and apparently I made a mistake. So life goes on, but I'm going to have to fix that. So no worries. I promise after the show it will be corrected. I'm going to put a link to The Real Luminous in the chat room. You can also find that if you head over to katie-weaver.com, if you'd like to go over there and check it out in the interim until I fix my issues. But I do want to go over a few things in Luminous today. So it is what it is. One thing I know for sure is we are all just doing our best right now, and we're going to have great things and we're going to have frustrating things, and it is what it is. And I'm totally good with that. Totally good with that. Okay. Yeah, Jane said she has had tummy stuff too. I've heard a bunch of it. So frustrating. But we just keep pushing through, right? Poor Mars, my youngest, my little empath, has really struggled with stomach stuff the last few days. On Friday, she went to bed so sick. And then after I had a look at what the Schumann did, it made all the sense in the world. But sometimes, guys, life is wild. Okay. Well, let's take a look into Luminous quickly. There's a few things I want to share with you, and then we'll keep on going. So I called Luminous this week the Light in the Window edition because I know what you guys are out there doing. I know you are supporting your friends and family the best you can. I know you're taking good care of each other as much as possible. And I absolutely honor that. And I want you to know that. I know that. And I see you. Don't forget, we have a brand new columnist. Caroline from When to Listen is a columnist on page 22 now. It's Caroline's articles, and they are wonderful. And she has a video as well, which is great. My musings this week were about oracle cards, because we're playing with them today, but also because I have a class. I have a class coming up tomorrow on Wednesday called 4 Oracle Card Spreads That Will Change Your Life. And I'm so excited about it because this is something that I'm so passionate about. I love oracle cards. So many times in using oracle cards, my spirit has said, "What are you doing? you, you don't need those." And I don't need those, but I love those. I collect cards. I have a lot of decks. I know a lot of you guys do as well. And I just think it's a lot of fun. And so I do have this class. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to learn 4 new spreads. I'm going to put a link in the chat room to the class, but I also, if you look in Luminous, there is a coupon for 50% off. So if you'd like to come to that class and you want a 50% off coupon, just go check it out in the chat room, or sorry, in Luminous, and you'll find it there. So, or if you can't find it, just come and talk to me and I will share it with you. But that's how to get it. And I would love to see you guys in that class. So I'm curious to know, while we're on the subject, how many decks do you guys have? There's no shame here. I know some of you have a zillion and some of you are like, I've never had a deck in my life. But I always ask that question because it cracks me up. Sometimes you guys are get way into the things that I do. So anyway, tell me, how many decks do you have? If you tell me, I might tell you how many I have. Maybe. Of course, as you know, some decks in this house are not mine and off limits to me. But, we just do our best. Okay. Kai wrote a really beautiful article this week about color and the use of color in healing on all levels. Really powerful work. And a really great article to help us understand using color so that you can help yourself. So thank you, Kai. It was awesome. The tip this week was about thirst. What are the signs of being thirsty? Fatigue, headache, irritability, and chapped lips, along with others. But if you find yourself feeling things like this, hunger can be as well. Maybe consider, are you thirsty? I know that I kind of get in funks where, or I don't know if it's a funk, but a period where I do a lot more drinking other things and not just drinking water, and then realizing, dang, I don't feel good. Oh, how much water have I had? It's an important piece to remember and to think about. And so I throw that tip up every once in a while just to remind you all. Most of us keep our cell phones, by our sides all the time. Maybe consider keeping your water bottle that close to you as well. For your health, of course. Okay. A few other things. This will be our last submission by Elizabeth. She is moving on to other projects, to greener pastures. So we want to thank her and tell her how much we have loved having her in Luminous all of this time. And we're excited to see where she goes and what she does from here. Please do check out Chris Ann's scopes. She is doing tarot scopes and they are so good. You can scroll through here in Luminous. You can also find them under This Intuitive Life over on Instagram. I think she's posting them here on Facebook too, but she's putting out a beautiful scope every single week that you definitely want to pay attention to. Jenny's article, The Sacred Gift of Surrendering, What I Thought I Knew, really had an impact on me this week. I loved it. Made me think about what I think I know. It's always some good self-reflection, right? And then Kelly has Bitch Scopes up. I'm just going to read you Cancers this week. So good. I love Kelly's scopes because they're so readable. They're so much fun too. They make me laugh because she really gets people. She gets their signs. She gets the way they work. Here's what she said for Cancer. Perhaps the only sign who dislikes confrontation more than you is Libra. I'm reading Cancer because it's me. It's very selfish, I know. But the thing that made me laugh about this scope is that I'm a Libra rising and a Libra moon. So I'm very Libran as well. The only sign that dislikes confrontation more than Cancer is Libra. Well, damn. Someone around here is screwed. Just kidding. Not totally. But yeah, this has been a lifelong thing for me. And this week, a regular source of stress, she said, in the form of another flesh suit, may really irk you. Your tendency is to back away slowly or sideways, but in this case, you really should stand your ground. It might be uncomfortable, but you'll be glad in the end. Oy vey. Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate you. That is an awesome scope for me and for others. So make sure that you check out Bitch Scopes as well. Julie Aronson from One Two Listen wrote a beautiful poem this week. She shared one of her soul collage images and wrote a beautiful poem that went with it that I thought was just so lovely. I hope you have a chance to see that as well. So that is Luminous. There's so much more in there. I hope you have a chance to go through all of it and enjoy it and find things that resonate with you. But as always, thank you to everyone who contributes to Luminous. I appreciate you very much, your effort, your light, and your absolute willingness to share your gifts. I wrote a blog post earlier this week. Well, actually last week, but I want to share it with you guys. Oh, Anna said she is a Libra rising too. Well, no wonder I like you so much, Anna. Libra risings unite. So is Christy, my sister, actually. All right. So I wrote a blog post that I shared. I did share it on Facebook earlier this week, but I'm going to share it with you guys as well because I think it's important. It was inspired by an article that I read from a mental health institution, I think in Ohio, the like State Board of Mental Health or something like that, that was a list of things to consider doing if you are feeling depressed. And they were very clear, very basic, some things to think about doing when you can't think of anything to do. And it made me think about how in spirituality, sometimes when we are in our hardest places, we forget to use the tools that we have. I watched my mom go through this, and I've gone through it. I've watched a lot of my clients go through it. But when my mom was first diagnosed with cancer, and she had very rapidly had a mastectomy, had an additional surgery, started chemo. It was all just really fast. And she was very sick. And she was working full time still as a special ed teacher in an elementary school. And she was doing her best, as anyone does in that situation. But she really took a big step away from spirituality, partly because it was the teachings of the time at that time were still very big in, that everything that happens to you, you've caused. If you're sick, it's because of your bad thoughts or, all of that garbage that I think we've evolved from now for the most part. But so she felt very betrayed by herself, by her body, and also by the teachings that she was reading that I don't think she could handle that level of guilt being thrown at her at that point. Seems legit, right? So for months, she didn't really do anything. And she had been one that she'd pull cards every morning. She'd meditate every day. She was journaling. She was going to classes. She was doing all kinds of things. But suddenly she was doing nothing. And one day after chemo, I'd go over to her house. She lived across the street. And I'd go over to her house and lay in her bed with her and give her Reiki treatments every day for the first few days after chemo. And we felt like they really helped offset the nausea and the fatigue. And sometimes if she was just having a bad day, I'd come over and do another session. And so I was laying in bed with her doing one of those sessions. And I said, I've noticed that it seems like you're not really doing any spiritual, doing any of using any of your spiritual tools at this point. And with my mom, she was a Sag. She had a very red personality. If you told her what to do, she was probably going to take your head off. She might be sorry later, but if you were going to tell her what to do, you better be prepared to have it handed to you. And again, you'd work it out later, but that was her personality. So I knew it was probably going to piss her off if I said that, but I still felt like I needed to say that. So very gently, I said, I don't really see you doing any of your regular stuff. And I wonder if it would help you to get back to that. And she started to snap at me, that she was tired and sick and didn't have time. And then she kind of stopped and she went, no, you're right. You're right. I just don't know how. And I said, well, maybe start with a card. Maybe just start with pulling a card every day. And she did. And within no time, suddenly this powerhouse of a woman is back to her powerhouse self and learning and reading and teaching and, doing the things that she did. But it was a big lesson to me in how easy it is when times get tough to step away from our tools. It's almost like the misery of the moment overshadows the things that can help us. And so I wrote a list. This was the blog post that I was talking about. It's called 10 Powerful Ways to Support Yourself in Times of Trouble. And you can find it written over at katie-weaver.com. But I wanted to share my list with you guys and give you an opportunity to reflect back to me anything that you would add to it. Of course, not everything on my list will resonate with you, and that's totally fine. This is my list, right? But I'm hoping it's a springboard for all of you to create your own. Being proactive, being prepared is a really powerful way to support yourself. So here we go. First on my list is meditate in any way you see fit. It does not have to be long. 10, 15 minutes a day is great. But meditating helps to shift your brain back into a place of peace. If you are not so much of a meditator, go over to YouTube. There are gazillions of meditations over there, and you'll find something. Type in meditation music, type in binary beats, type in guided imagery meditation or angel meditation or whatever, rocks your socks. You'll find it. You'll find a ton of it. Aromatherapy. Aromatherapy is always a go-to for me. I will probably diffuse bergamot, grapefruit, orange, some kind of a citrus. Maybe I'll balance it with a little sandalwood or something, but these are ones that help me to find some peace or to help shift me out of a bad mood. So aromatherapy is key. And for me, that's wearing it or diffusing it. Pulling a card from a beloved deck every day and just asking, what do I need to know while you're shuffling the deck, and pull out one card. Look at the picture, read the message, open up the book that comes with the deck and read that section if you want to for some additional inspiration, or just pull a message from yourself about what you think that card means for you. But use that as a little springboard every day. It makes a big difference. Choose a positive affirmation for the day or a week. Positive affirmations are a great way to continue to affirm what you want in your life and get yourself feeling a little bit better and more on track. Now, excuse me, I will say not everyone, is skilled at writing positive affirmations. If you go to Google Images, you will find gazillions of them. Pick one that works for you. Sometimes it's just that easy, right? Service. For me, service is a really important way to pull myself out of a dark place. Sometimes service is big, Sometimes service is doing something really visceral for someone. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's doing some service is cleaning up some garbage on the right side of the road, or it's writing someone a little note, or it's sending a little money somebody's way. Sometimes it's doing something bigger. Buying somebody's coffee in line has gotten to be a really popular one, or somebody's food in the drive-through, or baking treats for your neighbors, or whatever, right? There's no wrong answer when it comes to service, but if you are feeling low, one of the quickest ways for me to snap myself out of that is to do something for somebody else. Permit yourself to waste some time. How many of us can't waste any time without beating ourselves up over it? If I'm wasting time, there's always that thought that I could be making dinner, I could be doing some marketing, I could be writing a blog, I could be blah, 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 right? Sometimes you just need to waste some time. You need to give yourself permission to do it and quit beating yourself up or feeling like there's something so wrong with that. Our society has given us this false idea that we have to be busy all the time, we have to be productive all the time, and that giving some time up to something frivolous, there's the word, right? I mean, there's just such a negative connotation to it. Give yourself some permission to waste some time. You absolutely deserve it. Drink water. That was the tip this week as well. But for me, sometimes if I am feeling icky, I discover I'm not drinking enough water. Maybe too many runs to Sonic for a diet cherry limeade. Maybe too much coffee and not enough just straight up water. But water will help shift you faster than you think sometimes. So make sure you're getting adequate water. Read a good book. And for me, sometimes these are old standbys, maybe not something new. Maybe it is sometimes, but it sure doesn't have to be heavy or deep. Revisiting Harry Potter or The Mists of Avalon or any Tolkien series for me or the Aragon series, some kind of fantasy that I can drop myself into. Man, that's a good way to escape what you're going through right now and experience something else for a bit. Good stuff. Okay. Open the shades in the windows. I know for me, sometimes I let myself be in the dark too much. And I'll realize, wow, I haven't opened these blinds all day, or I haven't gone outside all day. Maybe it's time to open things up. And right now, it's finally warm enough that we can open the windows and let some fresh air in, or open the front door for a while. But for me, getting some fresh air and opening up those blinds and windows and drapes so that my house is getting some fresh air is key for me. So I'm curious to know what you would add to that. When I asked on Facebook, a lot of people added movement, taking a walk, taking a hike, even just turning up the radio and dancing, moving your body. I thought that was a really good suggestion. I was surprised it didn't make my own list. It probably should have, but now it is. There you go. But I would be interested to know what does it for you? What's on your list? And why? Because these are things we need to remember so that we can parent ourselves a little when we need it. Okay. Jane said, I'm packing and started thinking I don't have room and I might not use my smudge bundles and essential oils, but I'm going to take them anyway. Going to pack a deck too. That's good, Jane, because this is going to be an interesting trip for you. I think you're smart to take some of your tools with you so that you can retreat to your bedroom and care for yourself here and there. Okay. Okay. I asked you guys earlier how many decks you have. Jane says 3 or 4, but she's never used them. Maybe we're going to change that. Mary has 4. Anna has 9. Geraldine has 2. Jane has 32. I'm with you. I'm with you, Jan. I'm somewhere near there. Norella has 70 that she could find without going to the garage. Norella, that is awesome. I love it. Eva has 3. She said her favorite is the John Holland Psychic Tarot. Me too. Love that deck. But I'm going to tell you guys a story about a deck today too. A new one that I've been using. Yep. I figured you guys would have a handful here. You guys are the best. Okay. So, like a year ago, a client gave me a gift, gave me a deck. And for some reason I don't know why, I never opened it. I had it on my shelf and figured at some point I'd open it and play with it, but I never did. And the other day I was wanting to do some work and was looking for something else, a different deck to spend some time with. And I saw that sitting on the shelf and I went, wow, I can't believe I've never opened that. I really ought to check it out. So I did. And I discovered that this is the absolute coolest, most beautiful deck. It is called the Tarot of Transformation. And it's absolutely gorgeous. This is what the back looks like. I'm just going to pull one collective message for us from this deck for today. So let's do that. All right. The card is it's the number 10, Wheel of Fortune, Flowing with Change. So I will show it to you guys that are in the live stream. Flowing with Change. Isn't that gorgeous? This whole deck is this beautiful. So the message for me about this is that really this week, as change is rolling out, we really have to allow it to flow. We're going to have some very different opinions. A lot of people are clashing a lot right now about how we or do we get the world rolling again. And we're all going to have to do that our way. We're going to have to take care of ourselves and our families, but we're also going to have to find a way to work together because right now we are in a major difference of opinion amongst people about how we do that. You know, some people feel like we should stay locked down longer. Some people feel like we should open everything back up. Some people feel like we should do that in a more moderate and careful way. But no matter what, we still have to work together on this rock. And so I feel like flowing with change is an important thing to remember right now. So, yeah, that's a good message. It's not worth right now tearing our families apart over. We still have to be careful. We have to be respectful of each other on all sides of this argument and this opinion. I think that's the key is just respect. Okay. Carol said she has 10 decks and Denise has 12. Just fun. I agree. Just fun. Tina has 25. Tina also said her morning walk and connecting with nature would be something that she would add to my list. I love that. And obviously, maybe I need a little more of that in my life. We actually went out last night to a park, Mars and I did, and walked a couple of our dogs, and it felt really good to get out. Really beautiful out there. Okay, just taking a little look. Anna said she's been rewatching some of her favorite shows that bring up comfort and rewatching Once Upon a Time. I loved Once Upon a Time, Anna. I might have to join you in that. Geraldine said maybe it's time for her to go back to her cards and do a little more astrology. Yeah. She also said she's been going out on the patio with her computer and loving that. That's awesome. And Quelly has 15 to 20 decks. I love it. I had more decks, but I pulled aside a big stack of them that I didn't really use that came from when we closed our store and started giving them to the kids' friends when they'd come over here struggling or asking me for a reading or for some help. I started pulling out this big, box of decks and going, why don't you choose one and I'll teach you how to use it. So I have a little less now because I gave some of them away, but I'm never above, finding another cool deck for sure. And Scott always gives me a deck for Christmas too because he's cool like that. But all righty. Well, I think that we better get into some readings here because I've got all of these cards sitting here and they're not going to read themselves. Okay. I'm going to jump up into the chat room right now. All righty. Sandy said she would love a message. I will likely go back to my temp job this Tuesday as the lockdown is eased. I'm still looking for something in my field. Okay, Sandy, I want to pull you. I'm going to flip to a page in Postcards to the Universe, and I'm going to pull you a card out of Sweary Spirituality from Kelly McLean. So let's take a look at both of these quickly, and we'll do that. All righty. All right, come on, fingers. All right, there we go. Okay, my poor little hands. Lots of typing the last few days, and my poor little hands have had enough. All right, now we're just going to ask. This is a good way to do this. By the way, there's a book I'm missing. I'm going to have to rectify it. I have to talk to Kathleen Peterson. Do you guys have Kathleen's book? Her book is just perfect for this, using it as an oracle. And I somehow have lost my copy of her book. Sometime I had it at Teeling Hands and sometime in the move. I don't know. I can't find it. I have torn my place apart. So I got to get with Kathleen and get another copy. But if you guys don't have a copy of Kathleen's book, it is awesome. It is truly awesome. Okay. All right. So here are the messages for you, Sandy. So the card, this was from the Sweary Spirituality deck. Don't be too quick to reject the dirt, darkness, and shit. That is where things grow. Okay. Well, that's kind of where you've been, Sandy. I mean, I'm glad you're going back to your temp job, but I know you're ready to find something in your field. So don't reject this time, I guess. Let it be the fertile ground for you to grow something new. I think that's a great message. And I think this has been a good period for you to get a little bit of rest as well. So I hope that this has been a good chance for you to get a little perspective, freshen up so that you can get that job. I really still feel like the job in your field is right around the corner. It's just that COVID came and threw a wrench in everything. All right. The postcard from Melissa's book is the I Am a Survivor card. So I'm going to read the little highlighted part and then I'll show you what the postcard looks like. I am a survivor. My own life has been a journey of pain, shame, and humiliation since I went from an average teenage girl, then a victim of sexual assault, to a naturally spirited, driven woman now full of grit, grace, courage, and resilience. So this card is about, it's a postcard, and it's really about looking at the challenges that you've had in your life and turning them into something great, which I think is kind of fun in thinking about you in the sense of, I know this is very more specifically about domestic violence, which really doesn't apply to you, Sandy. But what does apply to you in this sense is your sense of being a survivor, surviving all of the unemployment that you have been through and the discrimination, and now finding yourself on the other side of it and getting that job back in the field that you want to be in. So it's like every message today, I think, really pointed you towards being able to move beyond what's happened in the past and use it as fertile ground to create something new. Refresh your resume right now. Maybe even get with a headhunter or get with somebody, a resume writer, that can help you refresh your resume. I always think that is really, really helpful in being able to get something going. Sometimes we don't sell ourselves the best. So if you haven't had it professionally written, use this time to do that. Just pull out all the stops. You are worth it. We're going to rise you to the top so that you can get back to your field. Okay, Jane's getting on the road, tomorrow, and would love a card. All right, Jane, we are going to go with the Kindred Spirits Energy Oracle deck. Okay. Oh, perfect. And I'm peeking. And Angela Hartfield's deck. This is, of course, the Elements of the Ocean deck. Or Love from the Ocean. It's Love from the Ocean, not Elements. Okay. As soon as I said it, I knew it was wrong. Okay. The message from the Love from the Ocean deck is empower yourself. Tune into your personal power. You are more than able to handle the situation facing you. Allow yourself to be the strong, beautiful person you are capable of being. Empower yourself. That is a really pretty card. For you, with your trip upcoming, I feel like this card is just a reminder to you, Jane, of how very capable you are of making this cross-country voyage, that you can do this, that you will be fine doing this, that you are empowered. I think that also is a little kick in the pants for you, because I know you've been kind of procrastinating and putting a few things off, and maybe this is a little shot in the arm to get you going. The card from the Kindred Spirits Energy Oracle deck is Archangel Michael. And I felt like that was absolutely perfect as you set out on your voyage, that you know that he's riding shotgun, and that you continue to talk to him and ask him to surround you in his protective light, and continue to use Michael as a tool on this trip to help you to make it happen and get going and be safe and protected along your path. So I think that's a really good reminder that it's not like you're really going alone. You and Mr. Smart over there are also going to fill that car up with angels and guides and ancestors that are going to go and help you guys to get this journey on the road. Okay. All right. Terry said the weekend was very rough for her. Lots of roller coaster emotions. The only person she saw was her son. She said the boys are going to be smothered in hugs. I've already warned them that it's coming when their dad lets me out. Yeah, because she's still in serious quarantine. And Terry, I know, we both know that's right where you need to be, but I'm sorry that it's getting to be such a dirge. I get it. All right. Well, let's pull you a card from the Ground, Bless, Protect, and Move deck. Okay. And from Mo Tarot. How could we? How could we neglect Mo Tarot, right? A little bird had told me that he has another deck coming. I need to peek into that with him. I would love to see it. All right. He pulled the 10 of Discs. And this is, oh, the message is wealth. So I'm going to show it to you. All right. And interesting because while money might be one of the things that's coming up for you, I feel like this is more of a poverty of family and of connection. Your family has been so good to you and so careful about taking good care of you and making sure you had what you needed, through everything you've been through the last 5 years or so. And having that poverty of connection, I think, is just really taking its toll on you. I'm really hoping that you guys can work something out so that you can have some connection to your family soon in a really safe and compassionate way. But that's really the issue, right? However, phone calls, drives, peeks through the window, FaceTimes, anything you can connect with would be really helpful so that you can at least have some connection with your family. I know they're missing you too. The Ground Bless Protect and Move card was a ground card, and it is the forest. Now, can you get to the forest? Maybe not. But actually, the hit that I had was that you should ask your son to take you on a drive, get you out of the house, get you out into nature, and at least take a ride so that you can roll down the windows, get the fresh air, get some time with nature. You really need it. And I feel like he will just get you out of there for a bit. That's going to be key. So I'm sorry, honey, that it's been so lonely and that you're struggling. My heart is absolutely with you. Okay. All right. Rebecca needs to know if she should get a restraining order against her roommate. I am gone now from the house. Okay, Rebecca A., I'm absolutely overjoyed that you're out of the house. I know that really needed to happen. My gut feeling is that you should sit down with a police officer and detail the issues at the house and what has gone on and ask for their guidance. I'm not convinced that you will qualify for a restraining order, but I think you should ask. Yes, because this person has been very unstable. And I feel like you really need the guidance of an officer to help you to know exactly what to do with that moving forward. I'm going to just pull you one card from Angie's deck from Whispers from the Ocean. That's what this desk is called, Whispers from the Ocean. I've said it wrong like every time. Brain dead. It's okay. It's whatever. But I'm overjoyed you're out of the house. So, yes, sit down with an officer, talk to them about your concerns and what you've been through, and ask for some advice. I think that's your best bet moving forward, especially because at least there is then a paper trail. That's important. But yay on you for getting out of there. You made that happen really fast. All right. The card is Diving to New Depths. There is a deeper meaning to what is happening. You might be looking at this from the surface and missing what is really going on. Take a moment to pause and breathe. Allow yourself to dive deeper into what you are feeling about your current situation. Okay, well, here it is, right? Abusive roommate. You stood up. You gave yourself this awesome opportunity to get out, to not allow someone to abuse you, to not allow someone to take advantage of you. And you did it. And you did it faster than you ever have in the past when you found yourself in situations like this. I feel like what we see under the surface is your deep roots, how strong you are, how resilient you are, and how capable you are. And right now, Rebecca, I think that's one of the things you need to remember and give yourself credit for is that you did this. You managed to make the change and to recognize what wasn't okay and get yourself out of it. So big props to you for that. Okay. Harry says, please read for my financial status. Let's see. I'm going to go with an Kindred Spirits Energy Oracle card for you, Harry. Let's take a peek at that. Sometimes I suck at shuffling these cards. My hands are just rude about it. Okay. All right. Okay. The card is the third eye card. So that has to do, of course, with intuition. I'm going to read you the card, but then I'm going to tell you what I think that means for you. The primary message is intuition. I see, I hear, I feel, I know. The challenge is doubt, rationalizing and fear. The crystal is labradorite to support your third eye. The meditation is I am open, I see, I hear, I feel, I know. Here's the thing for you, Harry. I think that you do know. While it's hard, though, sometimes to, of course, fully make changes when life is throwing you in a tailspin. And sometimes it's hard to make changes when you don't have the finances to do so. I really feel like you are going to team up with somebody else that also needs to gather some resources. I feel like two things that you need to know. First of all, your financial status and situation is going to change exponentially in the next 3 months in a positive way. But until then, I feel like you may end up needing to team up maybe in housing or in work ventures or financial ventures with somebody else that also needs somebody to team up with them. So watch for like-minded friends, watch for people who might have opportunities for you to earn or opportunities to partner with to help each other's work or businesses. There is some help here for you, but it's true that hanging on for a few more months is key. The other part of that is trusting your intuition about which direction you want to go and what you want to change and let go of. Harry, one thing I'm hearing for you is that it's really important for you right now to reevaluate what you want. What you were trying to manifest, what your goals and dreams were a few years ago versus what they are right now are very different. And it's okay to let go of the old dreams, the old wants, and allow yourself to settle into some new plans. I think you're going to have to do that. I think you're kind of in the process of that now. So I will support you in any way I can with that, but hang in there. It is going to be okay. You're going to get there. But yeah, there's definitely a little longer period here for you to get really creative. Okay, probably. I know I never will be able to get through all of you guys, so I apologize. Let's see. Okay, Sandy said, will you read about happiness and will I ever be content in life? Oh, Harry says, oh my God, very true. Yeah. And yet, I want to tell you one last thing, Harry. I feel like 1 year from now, you're going to look back at this whole period and the changes that you made throughout the year and the new foundations that you laid, and you're going to be overjoyed with where you are. I feel like the doors that now open for you are not what you ever expected, but that you are going to be thrilled with what lays out. So trust yourself. That's going to be key. Trust yourself as you move forward. All right, Sandy, sorry. That's how intuition works. It's like a roller coaster, right? All right, Sandy. Please read about my happiness and will I ever be content in life? Let's pull a card from Ground Bless, Protect, and Move and from Kelly's deck from Sweary Spirituality. Because, Sandy, I want that for you. I know you want that for you. It just feels like so many of the plans that you've made, that you've had the rug pulled out from under you a few too many times. It's made it hard to settle into a better pattern. Okay. All right. And one card out of Kelly's deck here. All right. All right. So from Kelly's, it was from the second part of her second deck, The Resistance is Futile. She says, excitement and nervousness are essentially the same energy with different anticipations. Are you confusing them? Worry can be resisting joy. All right. I think that's really good advice for you, Sandy, in really being able to disseminate between what you're feeling and why. I want to build on this that I think that you are such an empath that it has made it hard for you to be settled and comfortable because people around you are not. So even when you feel like you could be happy and settled and comfortable with the situation, I feel like sometimes because people around you are not as comfortable as you are, it's having a really strong effect on you. I also feel like there are some core beliefs from your childhood. We definitely can't get to those today, but at some point we should. There are some core beliefs from your childhood that I think are standing in the way of you really being able to trust in happiness and peace. Because when you were a kid, you couldn't trust that. You were in trouble for things when sometimes you were and sometimes you weren't. You didn't know what to expect. And that's affected you as an adult quite a bit. It's a protect card that came out of the Ground, Bless, Protect, and Move deck, and it's burn sage. So maybe considering, and if you can't burn sage, do some other kind of energetic clearing, but clear your space. And I think for you, that's a very frequent thing, that you need to clear your space because you do tend to take on the energy of others a lot. And it's just important for your home to be your sanctuary in every way. So maybe consider this week doing some good space clearing as well. All right, you guys, we did what we do. We talked down to the end of the show. I want to thank you all so much for being here. Go check out my class over at 12academy.com. It's happening tomorrow, Wednesday afternoon at 3 p.m. If you can't come live, know that I always record them and send you the video later. So you can always sign up and come later if that works for you. But I want to thank you guys so much for being here. And thank you, Scott, for producing. I'll be over at 12listen for the rest of the day and evening if you need a reading. Take care, guys.